Next to me stands the TVS Ronin, a bike from a somewhat, at least in Europe, unknown brand, unknown model. It's supposed to be a scrambler and costs only 3,800 euros. But how much scrambler spirit, adventuring potential do you get for this little amount of money? That's what we tried to find out. Hello again. We are back with a new test. Actually, we tested 3 small, cheap scramblers, starting with the Triumph Scrambler 400X, the Royal Enfield Scram 411, and now here the TVS Ronin. 3 cheap A2 scramblers, but with different price points. We compared them all together, did a little 3-day trip here in the north of Italy, had some gravel passes, some gnarlier bits, easier roads, super nice mountain passes. So if you want to know more about the trip and also the other 2 bikes, then check out those 2 videos about our trip. But here now I'm talking to you only about the TVS Ronin. Why? We already have solo reviews from the Triumph Scrambler 400X and from the Royal Enfield Scram 411, but none from the TVS Ronin. So I think it deserves to be in the spotlight for once. So let's talk about our impressions. But first, so we are all up to date, what is in the TVS Ronin and what is there to know about it?
The Ronin is one of 6 two-wheelers from the Indian manufacturer TVS from Mysore, which are supposed to become available in Italy from next fall and in other European countries from 2025 onwards. It is the only motorcycle with retro design elements, and its slightly knobby tires and a few off-road oriented components such as the engine guard, for example, give off some scrambler vibes. At its heart beats an air-cooled single cylinder with a displacement of 225 cc, which produces 20.4 horsepower at 7,750 rpm and 19.93 Nm of torque at 3,750 rpm. Fitting for this manageable performance level, the remaining components are also rather compact in size. A double cradle frame, non-adjustable upside-down fork and monoshock, a flat saddle with a seat height of just 795 mm and no fancy yet modern electronics like a LCD display, LED lights, smartphone connectivity and urban and rain riding modes. Including a full 14-liter tank, the bike weighs in at a measured 162.5 kilograms. In contrast to the in-house made, somewhat rougher looking TVS Explorer tires, the wheel dimensions are more road oriented, with 110/70 17-inch at the front and 130/70 17-inch at the rear. The TVS Ronin also comes with the kickstand and adjustable hand levers as standard. Regarding suspension travel, there is no information from the manufacturer, which is why its performance on unpaved roads will be quite interesting. But at least the Ronin offers 181 mm ground clearance, which should be enough for our targeted gravel passes. But one thing at a time. Before we reached the Friulian Alps, the first thing on the agenda was the paved way to the border and beyond.
Okay, now that we're all up to speed, let's talk about the riding impressions. If you are European or maybe North American and you're used to quite a lot stronger motorcycles, you may want to disregard the TVS from the start. And now, after having it ridden for 3 days on different roads, from very broad, just standard roads through the valley, open road basically, 100 plus km/h. Yes, there you can feel that 20 horsepower is a bit limiting. At least here in Europe, in countries with very good, well-maintained roads with high speeds, even the trucks go 100 kph. There you miss a little bit. You can reach just above 100 kph on the straight. We did never really determine the absolute top speed, because here in the Alps it's kind of hard to find a completely even road that goes just not up or down. Max speed I reached was going down 120, but even if you have a slight increase, a slight way going up, it's hard then even to reach the 100. You struggle around 90, 95 kph, usually, especially if you have a little bit of a load on the bike. So yeah, it's not made for highway speeds, unsurprisingly. But as soon as you come to the interesting parts, alpine passes, really small roads, and I'm still talking only on tarmac, then it starts to make fun. First of all, the seating position is very comfy. That's also the point why I started out a bit. Is it a proper Scrambler? It has only 17-inch wheels, front and back, and then this super comfortable seating position with the footpegs very fast forward. It's almost a little bit cruiser-like, you know? Not Harley-Davidson cruiser, but you have a very relaxed knee angle. You're very upright, very close to the handlebar. So it's a very relaxed riding. But at the same time, and especially for this price point, I like the suspension. You would think for only 3,800 euros they are going to put in the cheapest, softest suspension, but that is not the case. It's still comfortable, of course, but you can go fast-ish with, you just keep your momentum, get everything out of every gear, and then you get into the twisties. You can go fairly fast-ish around those corners, because you feel, just even if you do quick changes from one side to the other, it stays stable. Even if you hit a bump while going through the corner, it doesn't start to wobble all around, but takes the hit and stays quite stable. Also on very bad roads, we had some awful roads with big potholes one after the other. Even there, it's strong enough, the dampening is strong enough to not just punch through. Or I only managed to punch through in the rear 2 times, I think, and that was on some off-road parts going a bit faster. So apart from that, it can take bigger hits, but still it's not just hard, so you suffer while riding, but it's a good sweet spot. And for such a cheap motorcycle, to have a suspension in a very good sweet spot is kind of a very good thing, and not something I expected from. And that adds to a lot to the possibilities of the bike, because then you can really, without a lot of care, with optimism, you can throw yourself in the corners and go and use the full leaning capabilities, which are not that big, but it's enough to have fun. Looking at some details, in some points, there's no denying that it is a very cheap motorcycle. Especially the brakes are really nothing special. It is enough if you use front and rear brake at the same time. You can slow yourself down quickly enough that there's no like hairy situations in the corner. But of course, it's not wonderful braking performance. But the rear brake is, you can use it finely enough to even help you with some tight corners or going off-road, which I'll come to in a couple of seconds. But on the road, you take it easy, but already the seating position like wants you to take it more easy, and it's still enough to have fun, but in a comfortable way. The good thing is, with the small engine, you get a lot of riding kilometers out of the 14-liter tank, so you do not use up a lot of fuel. So maintaining costs or like riding costs should also be low, although TVS is just coming to Europe, so we do not have any information yet about service costs, how robust is it in the long-term usage, especially if you go a little bit off-roading like we did. We had some very harmless, like broad gravel roads, fine gravel like we have here, but we also have some gnarlier bits, some old military roads that got washed away and got barely repaired, and there on the first meters going off-road, which usually I ride standing off-road almost exclusively, and first meters I tried to stand on the TVS and I was like, okay, no, that's not gonna work, because of the very relaxed seating position and the very far forward positioned foot pegs. You can't really stand up because you do not have any space between the handlebar and your hips. There's no room to get your weight forward, especially when you go up, maybe even with gas. You have to pull yourself to the handlebar. It gets very exhausting very quickly, so it just doesn't work really. Also, the tank gets broad quite fast, so it's an awkward standing shape with legs. But then after a couple more kilometers, I was thinking to say, okay, I can only ride sitting, but with the well-adjusted suspension, it kind of works. I mean, there are a lot of also globe-trotters, world travelers that do not have the big adventure bike with perfect ergonomics. They just use their everyday bikes, from a Suzuki Bandit to a Honda Rebel or Harley Davidson, and also go along the wilder roads and through the wilder regions of the world and manage and have fun. And it's the same with the TVS Ronin. You just have your comfortable seating position, you have your not super strong but torquey, simple to handle one-cylinder engine, and it doesn't matter what comes along in your path, with relaxation, with the low seating height of 795 millimeters. If there's a trouble, easy cheesy, even you are a smaller rider, you can easily reach the ground. And then just boop, 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 with the very nice, bassy, deep sounding engine noise. You just, like a little tractor, you pull your way up, and you are slower, of course, less active than on other scramblers, for example, but you're also more relaxed than on other scramblers. You just let the thing pull yourself up, and you have time to look around and just enjoy it. It's a different kind of off-road riding, but if you're the right person for it, if you like relaxed riding, don't disregard it. And also robustness. The other two scramblers, which are ergonomics-wise a lot more for proper off-roading, I would say, they started to have some starting problems, both bikes. And the cheapest bike in the trio, the TVS Ronin, no troubles whatsoever. It's quite a simple bike, I would guess. Also, like electronics, that's a little bit annoying that there's no possibility to switch off the ABS. You have to pull out the safety plug, I think it's called in English. But it's not really, you can, with the speeds you're going, I was fine with just braking in a way that the ABS doesn't interfere. Also, the riding modes, for 20 horsepower, you don't really need two riding modes, even in sleepy conditions. It's easy to apply the gas in a sensitive way. So, to sum it up, is the TVS Ronin a real scrambler? I would say not. I would classify it as the naked cruiser with some off-road ambitions, but if you follow those ambitions and if you are a relaxed rider, it works. It kind of works, and you have to spend so little money for this bike that you have, in comparison to other adventuring motorcycles, you have a lot of money left for just trips. Just do trips and see the world and choose the smallest roads possible. Then the TVS will deliver the most fun, and it will feel not out of place. If you plan on, or if you have to go for long motorway stretches before you get to areas where you can do some adventuring, then you are gonna struggle, or you have to take a lot of time with the Ronin. What do you think? Is it a good package for 3,800 euros? Also, it's going to be interesting when TVS has established in Europe the whole dealership network, how will the situation be regarding spare parts, services, etc. That's all more a thing of the future, so we will see. But for now, we Europeans have to broaden our horizons and maybe even try one of the smaller bikes. Under the right circumstances, it can make a lot of fun. I hope also this video was a little bit fun to watch. Leave a thumbs up if that was the case, and also check out the other two like travel test videos. They are more chaotic, but I think also then even more entertaining, fun to watch. Yeah, just check it out. Thanks for watching and see you soonish. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.